Welcome back to the Everything Goes Podcast with your host, TAK. A weekly podcast with the latest sports news, the hottest of the hot takes, and the best predictions you can get. Now, Chris, Ace, take it away.
Welcome back. It's been a while. What has it been? 2 weeks, Ty?
It's always a 2-week gap for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I see the world's still spinning. We're all still breathing and living. There's a lot of can't even talk about it. It's not a political podcast.
No, yeah.
We're not there yet.
Can't divert this soon in.
But we have our first guest on this new platform that we're doing. We have Garrett Chillett from Chillett Racing. Funny thing is I stumbled, and I just talked to them about this before we came on. I stumbled upon Jared's YouTube channel trying to find my brother racing, and Action Track doesn't put nothing up that I could find. And I was just going through all his videos, and I just noticed my brother in the background, his pit crew doing nothing, and Troy just standing there with his fire suit on. But ever since then, I've been watching your channel, and it's amazing the amount of racing that you do and the amount of different tracks that you go to. And we'll talk about it, where you're going, which I especially have a lot of questions for your dad, Alan, where you're going to the next level. It's mind blowing at your age. First of all, how old are you?
I'm 15.
Oh my God, man, I have grandkids your age. Jeez. But anyway, how did you all get into racing?
So my great grandfather raced, and my uncle raced. So my great grandfather was a big racer. So he started racing at Makatech, 5 Mile, Pencan, a bunch of down here racing. And then my uncle got into it. And then he started racing Makatech, Pencan, much of those again. And then he got into it street stocks. My dad did with Makatech. And then I played baseball for a long time. And then I stopped that.
Love to hear that, but I hate to hear the stopping part, though.
Yeah.
And then my mom's parents took me over to the races because he was sick with his back at that point. And I said, I want to do this to him when I came home. And he's like, okay. And then we started looking for a car, and then we found my first car.
And I know the story how you got your number. That's your grandfather and your uncle's number, your grandfather and your dad's number.
Yeah.
Was your grandfather and your uncle Bill, were number 34, and your dad was number 9?
Yeah.
Oh,
that is awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, we were out of racing for 20 years, and I coached travel baseball. My oldest son played travel baseball and is now a Division I pitcher. And he had the utmost talent to play probably Division I baseball, and he just said to me, I want to focus on racing and give it all up.
Oh wow.
I tell you what, the thing I applaud the most is that your child is out there and he's doing things where you see kids today where they're gonna have arthritis in their thumbs by the time they're 20, playing video games and working. My grandson, my youngest grandson, is about a year old, and he works with iPhone better than I do. It's mind blowing.
Well, I can't
it isn't hard
that he doesn't get his sport night and his gaming in. He still does all that, but he's definitely, he's big on the iRacing simulator, putting hours in on that to get better, because I'm a firm believer that's what made him into the race car driver he is today is the iRacing.
That's awesome.
And on iRacing, you can actually do dirt tracks and stuff like that as well?
Yeah. So you're in the car. You're in the car. You can set the car up for how you want it. And I have a bunch of buddies that just after school every day, around 3:30 every day, we have a group call and we play iRace until about 5:30, and then we talk after that, but we don't play iRacing really much after that.
So what's iRacing for those that don't know what that is?
Yeah.
So iRacing is like a dirt simulator. So
It's basically a racing simulator in general, every kind of racing.
yeah.
Oh wow.
So it's
But you can't go in there like we do. Like when I race my son in NASCAR, like I'll push them into the pits on the final lap so I win the race. It's not stuff like that. You can't go in there and beat the hell out of each other, right?
No one does.
No.
Now,
Go
ahead.
It goes from NASCAR. You can run on the asphalt, or you can run road courses. He's a big, of course. You've already watched his YouTube channel. He's huge on the dirt, so he can run big block modifieds on the dirt,
super late models
midgets, on the dirt, midgets.
600s.
Alan, you know what they say: if there's not dirt in your beer, it's not racing.
Absolutely.
God,
Look, I'm a dirt head. I grew up. My grandparents they were part of the old Nazareth Speedway. National. I've been to Syracuse. I've been all over the place. Wherever they raced, they raced. I love dirt racing. Dirt racing's in my blood. I mean, I've never raced, but I love racing. I can't get enough of it.
It's something that either you hate it or you love it. But when you love it, it's like a drug. I mean, you get enough of it. I mean, it's crazy.
Like I tried telling Troy this. Racing is on the track. You know, driving in the car is you drive to get there. You can't be afraid to use your bumper to move people out of the way. It's racing.
Yeah, there's some moments in this year I couldn't use the bumper, but I don't understand how people can just go in there, slam into people, door people, and move them out of the way. Like that's just not how I drive.
Wow.
Now, you're going from slingshots. You had your feet in the stage 1 cars as well.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two? Because I know Troy's going into a stage 1. The slingshots is and correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically air pressure and changing gears on the car, right?
And there's few shock adjustments. They made it like this year where you can run. Last year they made it, but this year now it's legal for juniors where you can run stack springs on the back. So it's actually you take the 2 springs on the rear, take 2 springs on the rear and you put them together, and you like there's an equation you can figure it out what it equals out to.
Different spring ratios and stuff. It's basically going into the big block Model 5s and the super late models, the way that they spring smash and do everything with that kind of stuff, and bringing it down into the slingshot world.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Now, what's that schedule like? Like I played baseball. Obviously, that's like quarter of the year, and then you have your off season. Like for you guys, is that like a all year kind of thing you could do, or is that just like what's that like?
There's a few they have an indoor series for the sling.
About the baseball.
Oh, for the baseball?
No. Sorry,
no,
I'm talking about racing. I was just comparing it to baseball.
Yeah, so you could do it all year round. You can go down to like Florida and those kind of parts and race down there in the winter for up here. But
the indoor series.
Indoor series they have, you race what,
2 races.
2 races each day, and then there's only they have like what is it? Allentown and Atlantic City.
The PP&L Center.
Yep.
Is indoor racing fun? Like, do you enjoy doing that? Or is that like, I'm just gonna skip that?
I go down and work for Randy Smith, the SNS. I go down and sell down there and sell parts for him.
It's very, very pushy.
Yeah.
You've got to lay the bumper to people to move them out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tight area. It's on concrete. They put Coke syrup down for grip, and that was one of the reasons that he's never really ran there. He said it's not his driving style, but the Coke syrup is so aggressive under caution that when he was younger at 13, when he jumped up into an all-star, he wasn't strong enough to hold onto the wheel with that type of Coke syrup being on the ground.
Wow. Yeah.
Because Randy was actually going to give me a ride in one of his cars for that down there, but didn't think, him and my dad talked to me and didn't think I could just hold on the wheel. They said it's not bad when you're like actually racing, but when you're pacing around, I wouldn't be able to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh yeah,
Andy
for sure.
Smith and Richie Smith. I remember those names like it was yesterday, man. Randy in the 55 yellow and blue car, and his brother in the triple nickel, man. That brings back a lot of memories, man. Jeez. I'm old.
Well, so then, so you're still you're a junior. At what point, I guess, can you race professionally, or how does that sort of stack up, or where are those aspirations?
Well, he started in the junior division.
I started when I was, what,
Okay.
13, maybe?
13.
Oh,
No,
wow.
I started when I was 12.
12.
12. I started when I was 12, and then as soon as I turned 13, I moved right up. I think we ran like half the season to juniors. And then we raced 2 races before the world event in the All-Stars. And we were going to go as a junior. We had the points for a junior. We just said, scratch it. We're going to go with an All-Star. And we went to an All-Star, or went to get my feet wet at the All-Stars. I went to Oakland Valley Speedway. I won there. And then my next race after that, we went to the World Finals, and I won the first race there too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Congrats.
First of all, I gotta say something, Alan. On the videos, you look like a mean son of a bitch. I ain't gonna lie. You look like the guy that if someone touches my kid on that track, I'm gonna rip you out of that freaking seat and choke slam you. So it's nice that you're actually laid back. But I do have a question about when it comes to that. Like I noticed it was the Slingshot World Nationals where a kid got out. It was like a grown man got out of the car, and Jared he pointed at you like you did something, and I watched the whole race. I didn't see you touch him at all. how do you control yourself, Alan, when stuff like that happens?
It's very tough because, again, I look at it that's my 15-year-old son racing against grown men out there. So it's very tough in that aspect, but you kind of have to think about it a little bit. Again, I put him in that situation where when he's out there, he's got to be a man and be an adult. If you're going to go out there and race with these guys, you can't let them push you around, move them out of the way, or do anything like that. But he drives with a lot of respect. He's earned a lot of respect from a lot of guys. I mean,
yeah, so I gotta get a lot of respect from everyone too. Like, not even like on the track, like off the track too. They'll come up to me and congratulate me. But
it's very tough. Let's put it that way. It's very
I can
tough
imagine.
Again, but he's done things in a race car at 14, 15 years old that just blows my mind sometimes to watch what he does with the car control, the throttle control. Sometimes he puts himself in situations where he'll be 3, 4 wide, and I'll be like, oh my God, this is going to suck. We're going to have a basket full of shit. And he pulls it off. I don't know, he pulls a rabbit out of his rear end sometimes. But it's very, very tricky with that part of it. I mean, when that happened on the racetrack, I kind of have to just blow it off a little bit, blow some steam off, walk away, because like you said, I can be a little aggressive, and a little bit of a mean streak can come out. And, I have to look at it like he's trying to do this. Like, again, he's come to me and said that he wants to try to do this professionally, which, again, it's a slim chance it can be. But again, it's like being recruited in baseball or football or any kind of professional sport. If I make a scene, that looks bad on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think about it. I mean, you're going to the sportsman division. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Once you get past the sportsman, you got the 358s, and you got the big boys. So you're not far away from that. I mean, the money they pay now on the dirt series, it's come a long way. I mean, you look at the World of Outlaws, you look at the high limit sprints. These guys, they're making a nice living for themselves. So it's there. The potential's there. But,
it's crazy when you start looking at like what Kyle Larson does, and you take like some of these guys that Timmy McCready was a big block modified guy now that, I mean, was professional in that, but now he's on the super late model tours and making a huge living doing it. I mean, it's out there to be done. Like I said, it's a slim chance, and I've always told both of my boys through all their stuff, if you can get paid to do something that you did as a kid for fun, you won. Regardless if it's just paying for his hobby and he's not making a living, he has a full-time job. It's still huge. Huge.
Well, the nice thing is you have a good platform going. And the thing is somebody's going to see your platform. Always stay professional on that platform. Look what happened to Tanner Holmes. He ended up in Bobby Allen's World of Outlaw car for a couple of races. You know, the door's always open for you, and you always got to remember that somebody's always watching you. So how you conduct yourself on the track and off the track, it goes a long way.
Garrett,
Go ahead.
Sorry, Garrett, how do you balance your time then? Because it sounds like you'd love to be doing this 24 hours a day. It sounds like.
Don't get a girlfriend.
No, that already happened. So we're already behind the 8 ball with that a little bit.
Yeah,
it's okay though. She likes racing, so it's all right.
Right, that's awesome.
No, but it's definitely hard. I mean, because in the summer times, I work basically full time with him and work my uncles. We got a bunch of family businesses that I work with them full time. So I come home from working an 8-hour day and then go spend the rest of my day and night in the shop trying to get the car ready, because we have a big crew that helps us, but they help us at the track. Like they come over, like they're very busy. I mean, they're very busy people. They come over when they can at the house, but that's not like full time or anything, which it is full. They help us a lot, but like they have full-time jobs. They have kids. I mean, they can't get to the shop, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's
for
amazing.
sure.
That's honestly, real quick, that honestly at your age, the discipline is a huge advantage that you're going to have over so many kids. So just keep that like one track mindset, no pun intended with the track. And you'll be awesome to hear.
Now, Alan, how much do you keep him involved in the everyday maintenance of the car? I see he does the tires and stuff with the car, but like if you look at like Tanner Holmes' sister, she's 16 years old. She can change a motor out of a sprint car by herself. She was a crew chief on the Bobby Allen crew when Tanner was there. The girl, I mean, she was a sprint car driver. She broke her back racing, but Do you have him involved in the everyday part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like he said, we have a huge support system at the track. I mean, it's huge, the amount of people that are involved with the family and his uncle that's heavily involved. His uncle owns a huge excavation and landscaping business, so he can't be at the shop as much as he is. But at the shop, we have a core group of guys. Matter of fact, it was his best friend in travel baseball, Jamison McCollum. His dad was a big block modified guy too. So they got involved in racing with us, and Jamison kind of wanted to start helping a little bit, and his dad kind of took a back seat and didn't want to be involved, didn't want to get involved, and I kind of pulled him into it. So those guys are with us in the shop all the time, and the boys are at the point now where we ran a speed weeks last year. I was busy with work. Mike was busy with work. These boys were washing, going through the cars, doing all the general maintenance, changing gears, chains. They
That's
would
awesome.
call with different things and ask questions. They're getting to the point now where they could pretty much do anything you needed them to do on a slingshot. I mean, they're going to have to start back over with the crate car, but it was pretty impressive to watch and how quick they picked up on things. And especially like in the setup part of it. He got to be, as a driver, got to be so much more detailed in what he felt in the seat, on body roll, on how the car felt getting into the corner, what he was lacking middle off, if he was lacking anything. And he could relay that back to his uncle, myself, and Mike. Us three kind of bounce everything, because we're all with the racing background, back everything off each other here. And it was just so much easier once he learned everything about the car. You know what I mean? It makes a huge difference, even in the driver's seat, learning what you can in the shop. Because I'm a firm believer, the races aren't won on the track, they're won in the shop.
Oh, I like
Absolutely.
that. I like
Absolutely. Now, Garrett, how difficult it is for you? I mean, I have a list of tracks. You were at Hamlin Action Track, Snydersville, Linda's, Lebanon Valley, Utica, Rome, and the list is probably bigger than that. How difficult is you as a driver going from different track to track, knowing where you set up your slide and just how to run that track?
I mean, I basically ran every track like him, man. I mean, I was like, in the beginning of the season, I really was thrown in because I was super tight, and well, we had to buy him with the car, but we eventually found that. But at the tracks, I'd get behind the people that would run up front. I'd behind every time they go for hot laps, I'd get right behind them, stay right on their bumper until we go green, and then eventually, I gotta figure it out somehow. I mean, the hardest tracks it took me to do were Utica Rome. Took me about 2 laps to figure out, and I figured it out there. But Lebanon Valley was probably the hardest track I could figure out. And I was also super rushed. I hadn't really have a lot of time because I was trying to get back to Hamlin to race that night. But that was the hardest track I had to learn.
Wow. Now, go ahead, Dad. I would say, Alan, I don't know when you started racing, but would you say he's better than you at that age that he's at now?
100% he's better. He's got a God-given talent to do what he does. Again, I'm not saying he's the best out there, but I'll put him up against anybody out there, and he'll race them clean and run up front. I started when I was 14 in a go-kart.
There wasn't many options back then, huh?
Yeah, no, it was what they called a microstock, so it was a dumbed-down version, the easiest way to say, of what a slingshot is. Yeah. And I ran those for a few years, and then I jumped into a street stock and ran that. Had some health issues, and I kind of had to back away from the whole racing part of it. But he has picked it up unbelievably fast. Unbelievably fast.
And so your other son never raced?
Never raced. Hated racing when we got involved in it.
Oh, wow.
He didn't want any part of it. Like I said, he's a pitcher at the University of Pittsburgh.
Awesome.
So he's working hard at that. He's actually out there. He's watching the podcast right now. So
go ahead.
He wanted no part of it. He thought it was dumb. He's like, you're driving around in circles. He's giving his career up for this. Like, he didn't like it at all. Now that he's been involved with it a little bit more, now he can't get enough of it. He's buying every live stream there is to try to watch what he's doing, and he's watching all the YouTube channels, and it's pretty.
You just got to put him behind the wheel. You got to put him behind the wheel one time, and he'll be hooked.
He was honest to let him behind the wheel one night at the end of the night at Hamlin. We rained out the last night. He was gonna get behind the wheel and try it, because he kept saying he was better than Then Garrett at it, and I said, well, we'll see about
Oh.
that. We'll put you behind the wheel and let you roll.
Oh man.
Now, I don't know, Ty, can you put up that picture of Troy's car?
Yeah, I can put it up.
Oh
real quick.
yeah.
Let's see where it's at.
And
Here.
I don't know if your son's in the comments, but he says he's better at baseball than racing.
I saw that.
This is Troy's new car, and I'm just so grateful he put our sponsorship on the side of the car.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah.
but there's something about this car that everyone needs to know. This car only has one victory on it, and who is it that got that victory in that car?
This guy.
I won that.
That's wild.
That was a wild night. We had no intentions of racing a stage one that night. Richie Smith actually pitted next to us at Hamlin when we were there, and he came over to me and he goes, can your boy drive a car for me tonight? And I said, yeah. I said, I'll go ask him. He said, I got an experimental motor in this car. He said, want to get some laps on it, see what he can do with it. And he went out there and
I beat the track champion. with
beat
it.
the track champion with that car. And
Wow.
then he drove one of his other house cars, the S1, and won the which was a huge race for Richie. He won the Smith Memorial, the Rich Smith Memorial for Richie, for his dad. So that
Now, when
was
when someone comes up to you and just asks you if you want to race, are you there just hanging out with your friends as they're getting ready to race, or is your gear there? Like what is that?
I mean, beginning of the races, I like kind of disappear. Like when we get there, I help get unloaded, get everything set up. But after that, I disappear. Like until like the driver's meeting, and then I like stay at the trailer and stuff. But before that, I disappear. Like I go at Hamlin, I'd go down to one of my other best friends at racing is Mason Troshold. I would help him go down to, he would sell the parts at Randy's trailer. So I'd go down there and help him sell the parts at Randy's trailer. I mean, I would disappear, but I'd come up and be like, do you want to drive the car? And be like, yeah. I mean, that happened both times when I drove the stage one. He just, out of nowhere, she just came up to us and said, do you want to drive? I'm like, yeah.
He basically becomes a kid, is what it comes down to. And that's what we say. Like, he's gone and he goes and does his kid stuff. But when it comes down to getting behind the wheel, he puts his big boy pants on. He goes to work.
You disappear because you don't want to sign too many autographs to get your hands tired. You know.
Yeah.
Now,
Hey, so-
look, I have a question for you, Alan. Then, but first, before I ask this question, this was brought to my attention, and I don't know how true it is. There's a group of brothers, I guess, that have been dominating the slingshot division. Do you think there's any kind of funny business going on with their cars? And I'm not going to mention names on this podcast.
Those guys have been
Those-
involved.
yeah,
They're legit race car drivers. I mean, there's some boys that can get it done. I mean, I know at one point they ran some crate sportsman stuff, and they've just got their stuff together, and they found some speed this year, and they were tough to beat. I mean, they've won some big races this year, and I mean, we ran with them sometimes, and then there were sometimes they kicked our rear ends. I mean, it's part of the gig. I mean, you give it the best you can. We put as much foot forward as we can in the shop and try to find some speed. And again, it's tough. I mean, and when people say you can't find 0.3 of a second, you can find it. We did it. And again, all our stuff was legal. We went the one night we were getting beat, and we went the whole week. We had the car on the scales 3 times and just working different things and changing different things. And Mike and I banging our heads together. And then we'd be calling Uncle Bill and banging our heads with him and figuring out different things. And then we went back that week and gained 0.3 of a second.
You
So
should
I mean,
see their text messages. It's crazy.
That's wild.
Well, I had to ask. I'd heard they dominated a certain track where they won majority of the races. So I just
yeah,
Oh,
it's,
throw that out there.
they did. They ran. I mean, again, it's tough. I mean, there was people that saying we were cheating at Hamlin because we were a dominant force at Hamlin. I mean, at one point he had a 250 point lead. I mean, in the championship,
Wow.
like, it was like we
That's
were
actually
rolling. And then
All of a sudden, that's cut down, and we're battling each week. The point leads change,
yeah,
and then because we kind of flattened out. I mean, don't you think we kind of flattened out a little
we
bit
did flatten out.
in like the beginning of the season at Hamlin, and we just couldn't get any speed, and then I kind of stopped the tire prep a little bit. I'm like, I don't know if it's really helping me a little bit, and then I started up again, and I didn't do it for one heat race, and I'm like, dude, I got no side bite. I'm doing tire prep from now on, like every week. It's getting done. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but every single week my tires were wrapped, they were grind, they were done. I mean, they weren't illegal. but they were wrapped, they were grinded, they were ready to go. I mean,
That's all right. There's no officials watching the show. You can say whatever you want.
Heck, yeah.
But how much does the track change over the summer? Does it throw off your setups? Because I'm sure when you get into the drought of the summer, that track is dry after warmups. How does your plan change week to week to week?
It just my Hamel car. I mean, it ate up the slick. I mean, you put it in the slick, it just goes. It had so much forward drive this year, and I had forward drive last year too. But it's just the way kind of the driving style. I mean, you don't really change the setup. You kind of have to change your driving style, find the moisture. I mean, there's always a little bit of moisture on the bottom, but then these people are slamming the top. I mean, we don't have the power to. We have a lawnmower engine behind us.
Yeah.
No, we don't have the big blocks. They can just run the top, and bang the boards down, and make it work. I mean, you really got to pedal it. Make sure you're getting your car straight. And the biggest thing is keeping your car straight and free.
Yeah.
And again, the other thing we did this year is, and a lot of guys didn't know it because we had it covered up with shock covers and everything else, but myself and Mike again went to work when they released this year that you could run a stack spring. We changed over the stacks, and we did everything we could imaginable to keep everybody's eye off the shock. We went to the extreme of putting an extension panel across the back quarter panel that was in neon orange to draw their attention to that, to think that was making a difference. And really, it was in the shock package.
You just gave it all away now.
Man,
all five of our listeners just got.
We're done with that anyway. We're done with these. So.
I'm not saying we're done. My sister might race a little bit, but that's pushing it a little
bit.
But
it's to the point where we made those adjustments, and we're running the car so soft that he was getting so much body roll that it was actually running like an actual true Northeast modified. He could feel the roll, and he was the only guy, and I'll say this flat out, at Hamlin that could run the top and be successful on the top of the speedway. So that makes a huge difference when everybody's stuck down on the bottom and they're bottom feeding. He won one race,
blew
everybody on the top, and he was literally flat-footing it around the top of the speedway.
Yeah, that didn't lift the whole time.
Oh wow!
I mean, the degrees and the temperature showed that. I mean, we were up there, but because people are pinching so much on the bottom, and I can just keep my momentum. It's kind of like a balloon. Like you get a balloon going, and as you keep spinning it, it keeps getting faster and faster and faster. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's basically what I did. I mean, I was trying to keep my momentum, and anytime someone broke my momentum, I was screwed. I mean, I couldn't. It took me a little bit to get that back up.
And when he's saying about momentum, I mean, you're talking these motors on a dyno, taking a 24-horse motor, you're pushing 40 to 42 horse on methane alcohol. So it's not a ton of horsepower, but it's still enough that can get you around the racetrack. And I mean, they are a badass car. I mean, they're neat.
I ripped my brothers around his yard. I got a chance to drive it. I was going to come in and actually race at Action Track. I landed on Wednesday, the day he was racing, but by the time I got to where I needed to go in Jim Thorpe, I was not heading over to Action Track. So I got to drive his car around his yard and rip it up a little bit. But my thing for you, Alan, is I'm not saying that there's no danger in the cars that he's racing now. There's danger in anything you do, but now he's going to big boy racing. He's going to sportsman. He's going to a full-size modified. He's going to be running against grown men. How do you feel about that, knowing that the danger level is going up now?
Yeah, it is going up. I mean, but anytime that you strap yourself in between those bars, you're putting your life at risk. It doesn't matter if you're racing a go-kart or you're racing NASCAR. The risk is still there.
Driving to work.
Basically, I mean, the risk is there. The tracks that he's going to run now, I mean, two of the places, one being Utica Rome, the other being Fonda, they're half miles. So we're talking over 100 miles an hour at the end of the straight.
Absolutely.
So there's some big risks in it. I believe in him 150%. If I didn't think that he was at the capability of doing this, there would be no idea or car even existing in our shop. He's got the skill level to do it. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to it, but I think he'll be a front run contender by the end of the season.
I mean, we also have great people that help us. We're best friends with Alex Nkowski's crew chief. Alex Nkowski's Motorboat. I mean, that's where my car came from. Is Alex's shop. I mean, that was his Utica Rome car 2 years ago that we got now. Jessica Friesen ran at Eastern States, so we know it's a run front car. I mean, Alex is dining on all my shocks for me and stuff. So, and we know it's going to be set up. They're going to set the car up for us to begin. They're going to make sure everything's perfect, ready for me to go.
So I was actually going to ask you guys, for those, I'm intrigued, and for those that don't know the process, how does one get a race car, especially when you're changing levels and getting higher and higher into the thing? Like, obviously it's not like just a Facebook marketplace thing, I would assume. So what does that look like?
I mean, we basically, like he said, the Yankowskis have been absolutely awesome to us. Actually, their engine builder now, Jeff Murray, used to be my engine builder back in the day. So I had the connection with that, and his crew chief, Kevin Bates, used to race for my grandfather. So we had, once we decided we were going to go into the big boy world and go into the big cars, I made a couple calls to Jeff and Kevin, and they said, well, we have a car here that's our actual Utica Rome car from last year. If you're willing, that you guys want to purchase it, we'll sell it to you. Again, they were running big blocks, so we're not getting their engine or anything that they have, but the car was all basically just the way that they ran it. And again, they're setting it up so we know the car is going to turn left. But again, it doesn't matter if you take Garrett's set up in a slingshot and you drove it, it's not going to fit your driving style. So it's going to have to be fine-tuned to him. But it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. But again, we can't ask for any better people to be helping us than the Yakowskis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Alan, how does that work real quick? Since Jared is 15 years old, does he have to do any kind of driving classes in the sportsman level to get approved, or is it just like
Garrett's basically he's a proven race car driver, so he can jump in and go to work.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I mean, he ran Utica Rome. He ran in a slingshot. Of course, they didn't run the half mile. They ran the interoval. He ran there for Super Nationals.
Yeah, New York Super Nationals.
The New York Super Nationals, and finished second to the track champion.
I mean, I probably had a chance of winning the race, but I was underneath the leader. I was going ready to pass him, and the caution came out. It happened twice to me. I mean, in the heat race, I came off. I started third, and I just came out. Everyone slid up. I just came into it straight, hit my brakes, so it kind of like set me in a little bit, and I just shot right off, and I was going from there, and then I was going to start a third, and I had redo 3 in the heat for the feature, and then I pulled the same move, and I was gonna go out, gonna lead it, and a caution came out. So we finished second there. It was good, and then we didn't even start the feature, and we ran the heat race. We got jumped in the heat. 11 Valley, we got jumped. So we packed it up. We went home, and then we went back to Glenbridge on Sunday, and we were horrible. I'll admit it. We were horrible in the heat race, and we just threw the kitchen sink at it. We changed a lot, and then I went from I think 25th to 5th. Yeah, and I probably would have had a top 3 car if I had more laps. I was just blowing by people.
Wow.
Well, I
That's
have
awesome.
one last question. It's 2 parts, and if they have any questions, they can ask. Are you going to be running the 349? And Dad, do you ever have the itch to get back in and race with your son in Sportsman?
Go ahead. You can answer the 349 deal.
Yeah. I mean, we actually have the memorial body back there. It's in my room, and then I'll go back to 349. Probably the same colors too, and then we actually got the opportunity to run two more cars next year. We got the opportunity to run a legend car. I don't know if you guys know what that is, for Mike King with the KO racing series out of North Dakota. So I'll be up at BAPS for 2 races up there, and then I'm actually flying out to North Dakota for a week to race out there, and then I'll be back.
Wow, you're almost to Colorado.
I'll be back in the stage 1 with Richie Smith for a few races at Airport, Milford, and then was there any more places? Bridgeport. I'll be in a car for there too.
Wow.
And I don't know if I could ever jump back in a car because I don't want to get my ass beat by my kid.
Well, hopefully you won't be in the same heat as him.
Oh man, I don't know. Like I said, he does some stuff in the race car, and I'm not tooting his horn just because he's my kid. He does some stuff in a race car that's really impressive, and I don't think I honestly I don't know if I could beat him.
Wow, that's good though. That's good though.
My last question: do you have your driver's permit yet? Like,
No.
That's even crazier.
You know what's gonna be
Yeah,
crazy if he fails his test the first time?
Oh, I don't turn 16 till August 5th.
Wow.
Okay.
Dang.
Oh wow. Yeah. So you're later for your grade, I guess, or well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
he's-
either
yeah,
way,
Yeah,
you got-
I'm old for my grade.
okay. Wow. That's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I'm young.
That's all right. You'll get old eventually, like the rest of us.
Yeah, slowly.
I'm
Do you
good
have
about.
anything?
No, that's all I have. You guys answered my questions I had. We just appreciate you coming on here.
Well, Garrett,
Yeah,
if you want to promote your
Yeah.
platform, it's your opportunity. You can tell everybody where we can catch you at.
You can catch me at Shalat Motorsports on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. I mean, we put our media guy goes everywhere with us. He doesn't miss a race. TikTok is updated 24/7,
Yeah, when we're at the track.
but YouTube is usually like the day after. I mean, Worlds took a long time because there's so much like content that he didn't have a chance to edit. I mean, I know the one time he was up till like 2:30 in the morning
Oh wow.
on Friday night, was getting videos ready and stuff, and they wouldn't upload until he got home because there wasn't that great cell service there.
And
So
just so you
last name-
guys,
your last name is Shalat?
Yeah,
yeah.
Shalat.
Next time you race against Troy, spin him out because he told me it's Chillit.
No. And just
Spin
so
him out.
you guys know, the boy that's doing the media content
It's 12.
is 12 years old.
It doesn't
Love it.
surprise me.
Love it.
It doesn't surprise because if I didn't have Tyler or Aaron, I couldn't do this podcast because I'm computer stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he blows my mind. His name's Karsten McCollum. He blows my mind with the amount that he does with and a lot of it's done off an iPhone, and it blows my mind the amount of content that he gets and what he does. And we have people come up to us all the time. Oh, we watch the YouTube channel. You guys do such a professional job. I'm like, dude, he's 12. He does a phenomenal job.
You know what, Alan? You know what? I don't feel bad. Give him a rotary phone. See if they can text on it.
Hey, I keep calling one of those cell phones. You have to like
That's the
turn it.
rotary phone. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need to know.
And I can only call it because my great grandmother, I used to go over there all the time and call myself on her phone all the time. That's the only
Well,
reason
guys,
I know how to work one.
It's been a complete pleasure having you guys on,
Absolutely.
and definitely I'll be
Absolutely.
watching.
Thanks for having
And
us,
we're-
guys. We
we're-
appreciate it.
oh, we definitely want to do this again. Got to have you on, especially when you start the season in the new car. I want to see how you guys are doing and how you feel
Yeah.
behind the wheel of a. I don't even what kind of horsepower is in that.
The crate motor is going to be about 350 horse.
There you go. Wow, what a difference! Wait till he hits that for the first time going down the
Jeez.
straightaway.
Yeah.
I'll be all right.
Oh, I'm sure you're gonna. I'm sure you're gonna be fine.
It's just gonna go to the floor first lap. If I junk it, we'll go home.
All right, guys.
And we can add the links to probably at least to the YouTube video. So for YouTube and then probably Facebook for sure,
Absolutely.
if that works.
We appreciate that. We'll get everything over to you guys.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you for the time,
All
guys.
right. Yeah, guys, thank you so
Yeah.
much for the time.
Anytime.
All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. And like I said, plenty of information going around. We'll have all the links below. And we'll see you guys next time.